there, King's Creatures community. I'm Laura King here with another Training Tip Tuesday to help you train your dogs and cats to be therapy animals and adventure pets. I hope you are all doing well and ready to dive into an important topic today: balancing your desire to serve as a therapy animal handler team with compassion for your own pet. This topic is crucial for anyone working towards having a therapy animal, or even those who already have a certified therapy animal and are actively completing visits. If you're interested in therapy animal work, it's probably safe to say that you have a strong desire to help others, or especially to just share that positive impact we see that our pets can have on our lives with other people. But it's equally important to ensure that our pets are happy and comfortable with their roles. Sometimes we can have a goal for our pets to train them as therapy animals or to continue in their therapy animal work that may not be the best thing for our pet. Yes, therapy animals are awesome. I'm always going to advocate for more therapy animals in the world because they do make a powerful impact in every community that they're active in. But we want to make sure that we're not so obsessed with that therapy animal handler team dream that we disregard the needs of our own pet. Remember, you're going to be your pet's biggest advocate in any situation, but especially during therapy animal visits or therapy animal training, because you know your pet best, and it's your job to put them into situations that they enjoy and feel comfortable with, and to avoid putting them into situations that cause them a lot of stress and maybe puts them into a situation that they just don't enjoy. Not every pet loves having their close, intimate, personal space invaded by strangers on a regular basis. In fact, most pets don't. So it's really important for us to regularly check in with our pets, keep an eye on our pets, understand kind of where they're at so that we can do our best to advocate for them and show them compassion, just like we want to use them as part of our team to show compassion to our community. Number one, you want to always read your pet's body language. Your pet's body language can tell you basically exactly how they're feeling. If you don't know how to read body language, I highly recommend hopping into the King's Creatures Adventure Team Club. We talk about body language a lot in there. We're doing it a lot this month. And we've got videos, photos, and more to help you get comfortable reading your pet's body language. Every pet is different, so while we do have some in general things we can talk about, your own pet's going to be unique, and it's important that you understand their body language cues and don't misinterpret them. Generally, if your dog is loose, calm, confident, wagging their tail, and seems relaxed, that's a good sign. But if you're noticing when they're interacting with strangers, they're often yawning afterwards, licking their lips during, tucking their tail, still wagging, but it's kind of lower down or totally between their legs. Maybe they're shaking off every single time they end an interaction with a person. Those are cues that it might be time for your pet to take a break, or that they're not necessarily comfortable with those interactions. And remember, just because your pet's already certified as a therapy animal, that doesn't mean that you don't pay attention to these things. Our pets' temperaments can change over time as they age, if they're feeling unwell, all sorts of different factors. So even once you're a certified team, it's really important to keep an eye on that body language during every interaction with a stranger, seeing if you're noticing more calm, happy, and relaxed signals or more tense, uncomfortable, unsure signals. If it is the latter, we want to make sure we're setting our pets up for success by advocating for them and getting them out of there. Again, that feeds right into our next point, which is monitoring stress levels during visits. Even the most well-trained therapy animals can have off days. Maybe they broke a nail and their toe is hurting. Maybe they're feeling unwell, or they're just having an off day. Just like you and me, we can have days where we don't act or perform to our best abilities, right? So always pay attention to how your pet is reacting during therapy animal visits too, and if they seem overwhelmed or tired, it's always okay to cut the visit short. It's something that you might want to communicate in advance that, hey, I am going to advocate for my pet to keep them safe and healthy and to keep the people we're interacting with safe and healthy. If I feel like they're not doing well or they're at risk of becoming extremely uncomfortable or it's too hot or whatever it might be, I'm going to have to end these visits early. So make sure that you're communicating that with the facility so that they kind of have a plan in place if you do need to duck out before your visit is over. Remember, the goal is for your pet and the people you're serving to have a positive experience. So you can frame it that way when you're talking to the facility, but you want to make sure you're focusing on your pet and not just the people that they're interacting with. You also might just want to take a look at the environment around you. Certain environments can be more stressful to your pet than others. Busy, noisy places or unfamiliar settings can be overwhelming. So if you're wanting to help your pet enjoy therapy animal work for as long as possible, it's important to choose your visit locations carefully. Think about not just the interaction with the people, but all the other stimuli around them in the environment. Is that going to be what's best for your pet? If possible, I always recommend doing a site visit before you're on the clock, before you're scheduled to visit with people, just to get your pet used to the sights and sounds and smells at that new environment. But if it's a very extreme, overwhelming environment, it's always okay to say, this is not what's best for my pet. We can't do visits here because it's not going to be ideal for them. Sure, therapy dogs should be pretty darn bomb-proof, but there's no point in putting them in situations that are a little bit stressful or overwhelming, because it may burn them out sooner and we won't be able to serve as many people in our community if we do that. You also want to make sure that you're prioritizing rest and recovery between visits. Therapy animal work can be tiring for you. It can be tiring for your pet, both physically and mentally. You want to make sure your pet has free time after a visit to recuperate, maybe some play time with you to just get the wiggles out and have some fun. Having that balance of rest, relaxation, exercise, and play between each visit is crucial to maintaining your pet's well-being, and again, not letting them burn out on therapy animal work. And of course, I've said it before and I'll say it a million times, you want to keep training your pet. Training is a lifelong process. It never ends for our pet's entire life. Your training sessions should really reinforce the behaviors you want to see during therapy animal visits. Maybe you're adding some new tricks to your repertoire or whatever it may be. But don't forget that you're also training your pet outside of your specific training sessions. Every therapy animal visit you go on is training your pet, and all of your day-to-day interactions with your pet are training them. Make sure that you're reinforcing and rewarding the behaviors you want to see instead of the behaviors you don't want to see. If your pet's starting to struggle on visits with things like licking or jumping or pawing, you may need to pause visits until you get that back under control, because if you're allowing it to continue, you're reinforcing it, and it's going to be harder and harder to break those habits. Lastly, I just want to encourage you to reassess regularly. Even if you've worked with a trainer, you've become a certified team, or you've at least done a temperament test to kind of assess whether your pet has what it takes to be a therapy animal, that doesn't mean that's going to be true for the rest of their life. Whether they go through a traumatic event or they simply get older, stiffer, sorer, develop hip dysplasia, or some other sort of painful joint injury or joint disease, pets can start to become uncomfortable. When they're uncomfortable, we don't want to put them in high stress situations like therapy animal visits. So it's important to take time to regularly reassess whether your pet is still enjoying therapy animal work. Maybe they've just burned out on it and they need a break. Maybe they are unwell and simply need to stop altogether, because when we're sick and not feeling our best, we're certainly not going to put our best foot forward, and we can't expect our dogs to be any different. So don't forget that your pet's preference and tolerance levels can change over time, whether it's related to health, age, or simply just maturing and growing up into an animal that maybe doesn't enjoy every single person they meet like they did when they were younger. If your pet starts to show signs that they're not happy doing visits, it's time to reconsider your role as a therapy animal handler team. That can feel like a devastating blow after all of the research, the training, all the time you spent on this. But remember, you want to show your pet compassion first so that you can show compassion to the people and animals in your community. Balancing your desire to help with compassion for your pet is all about making responsible decisions that prioritize your pet's happiness and well-being, because that helps you to prioritize the happiness and well-being of everyone in your community. Remember, the best therapy animal handler teams are those that work together with mutual respect and understanding. So I just wanted to take that time today to remind you to take a look at all of those things that we talked about today to really assess whether or not your pet truly loves therapy animal work or is just tolerating it for you because they're such a well-trained animal. Are they enjoying their visits, enjoying interacting with strangers, or are they a little bit stressed out and uncomfortable, but they're just doing it because you've got them there and you're telling them to do it? It's important to take a look at that now and also on a regular basis so that we are setting our pets up for success and keeping the people we interact with as safe as possible. Thank you so much for joining today's Training Tip Tuesday. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how your pet feels about therapy animal visits or interacting with strangers if you're not a certified team yet. And tell me why you think that. Why do you think your pet feels that way? What body language are you seeing? What have you assessed to make sure you understand how your pet feels about interactions with strangers? Stop by in the comments. If you have any questions or need further advice, drop those questions in the comments too. I'll do my best to answer them or record an upcoming Training Tip Tuesday specifically for your question. Let's keep making a positive impact in our communities, one compassionate decision at a time, friends. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central for Training Tip Tuesday. Bye, everybody.